Hello everyone, I'm John Eggins. This is PNG Tonight. Coming up, Behind the Blockade, a new book reflects on the misery, pain and fear of the Bougainville conflict. An anti-bullying campaign focuses on students' physical and emotional safety at schools. And police recruits undergo training where discipline is re-emphasized. The Bougainville crisis may be more than 2 decades in memory, but the experience and suffering lingers on. Veronica Hatutasi, a journalist who comes from the autonomous region of Bougainville, captures some of that in her book, Behind the Blockade. Mark Kayok with this story.
The Bougainville crisis has lots of materials and memories that are unwritten. Since crisis began in 1989, many lives were lost, families scattered, properties destroyed, and atrocities, coupled with extreme violence, swept across the entire island. A proper archiving of these historic moments is crucial for the current generation. Between 1989 and 1994, about 15 to 20,000 lives were lost.
Many reporters didn't really want to go to Bougainville because, of the crisis.
Veronica Hatutasi, a journalist engaged during the crisis, was behind the scenes of the civil war, capturing and writing news on what transpired on the ground.
At the time, the reporter who was covering Bougainville left. And so when I joined, I was put on that round to cover the Bougainville crisis. And that's what I have been doing most of the time.
She produced a book titled Behind the Blockade, in memory of those harsh times and conditions experienced in Bougainville. Her story started in Toniva, a small town in central Bougainville outside of Arawa. Much of her work was her own personal account of being part of a family displaced by the civil war and as a mother seeking refuge in safer environment.
There's writers, people writing about the Bougainville crisis. Mm-hmm. And then I said, especially those times behind the blockade, there was a lot of, hardships and suffering that were faced.
Her book tells the story of pain, fear and anxiety experienced by women, children and the elderly during the blockade where basic services were not accessible.
I said, someone needs to tell the inside story. Okay. And so that's why I decided to write, to tell the inside story and focus on the hardships that was faced by, innocent women, children, and the general population on the island.
The book was launched recently at the Grand Papua Hotel. Invited guests, education officials, and sponsors of a book gathered to witness the ceremony. Not many Papua New Guineans are into writing books, despite countless writers, poets, and novelists. Writing a book besides a full-time job is not an easy task.
Finance is a big thing. There are a lot of writers out here in PNG, but I guess finance-wise, we face that problem. And I was lucky to have sponsors who came good in helping me out.
Veronica was heaped praise for producing a book which tells the inside story of the crisis and its impacts on the lives of many, especially the women and children.
It's been a long wait. I can't recall for how long we've been waiting, but she's been talking about writing this book for a long time.
I think such a book written about incidences recounted in the book helps all of us to know more, to understand more about the blockade.
I am sure that the experience gained during the difficult time spent behind the blockade was at hand perseverance of Bougainvillean mother.
It took 3 years to complete her book. She was inspired by former veteran journalist Son Doni to put her stories together in a book. The launching of the book was a dream come true for her. But there are challenges that's affecting production of the book. An emotional long-time colleague has nothing much to say but thanked Veronica for her efforts in producing the book.
Now se looking launching book big something. Well, mit lakawan tema. So mit bueno babi no kamotok babi tok tengi na solong mit lakawan tema.
The book is very important itself because it tells a part of history. Most of our kids in the current generation, they probably don't know a lot about the Bougainville crisis and what occurred. And this gives a personal insight as she was there during the crisis and experienced the crisis.
Veronica hopes to help the education system in Papua New Guinea by offering her books to schools who wish to purchase them.
I've invited quite a number of officers from the education department, and hopefully, they see this book as a resource material for schools.
After working more than 20 years in the media industry, she's now the editor of the country's only talk pidgin newspaper, The One Talk.
I encouraged people out there and reporters who have something interesting to write. Well, just go ahead. Mm-hmm. I know we all can do that. When especially finding the time to write this. Is something that's a challenge.
Veronica issued a challenge to her colleagues as she sits back in a little hideout and continues to inform and educate the nation. Behind the Blockade is now going for only 66 kina, and those wishing to purchase or place an order can contact Ms. Hatutasi on her address below the screen.
Mark Kyle reporting there. After the break, a move by one school to stop student bullying.